Nathan, we often hear the cliche that they're all big games, but
Yep.
in the context of your season, this is as big as it gets. Yeah?
They're all big games, mate. No, well, it is. It is. It's the next game, and it's you hear 8-point game bandied around. It's 9v10. It's a couple of sides that through discussions during the week that we've been able to factually convey that have been unsuccessful in recent years, and they've each got designs on improving their position not only for 2017 but as clubs going forward. So yeah, it's a big one, and we have to wait till the end of the weekend to get there. There's still 4 days to go, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
What was your take on that bit of banter suggested there?
Yeah, we've established that Lyndon's been great for the club, and that neither Melbourne or Collingwood have been great in recent years. So it was just conveying what we all know, I thought.
Is it good for the game, that sort of stuff? It's like a bit of light-hearted stuff. Should there be more?
Oh, it makes your job easier. You don't have to find something else to fill the papers or the airwaves with. But it's not going to count for much when you get to 320.
How great was it to have Neil out there today?
Yeah, look, he's an inspirational character, and he's really good mates with Scott Burns, who they shared 5 years over at West Coast together, and Neil's been a very strong mentor for Burnsy. He coached me in a State of Origin match way back when for the Allies, and the Danaher family, not just Neil, but the Danaher family have been entrenched in football for decades. So it's a really strong connection through footy. But for him to be as courageous as he is, suffering what he's suffering, and to be the pioneer for the fundraising and the awareness of MND is first class. And when you see a guy, any person that's going through duress or in the plight that he is in, do it with such grace, dignity, and positivity, well, then it's a fair example for us all.
This was always a big clash, but since this has come along, have you noticed that it's made it bigger? And do you hear the players talk about Neil? And do you hear, has it made a tangible difference to both sides, do you think? Yeah,
well, we have strong connections to it. Scott Pendlebury's grandfather passed around 18 months ago through MND. So there is a strong personal connection to the footy club in recent times. The Queen's birthday game has always been there, but I think we don't see it as we see it as the big freeze now. So it's probably a little bit closer to home, and when you see a personality that you respect like Neil, I think it just brings it to light even stronger than it might have in the past. It's a big game. It's a game of footy, but it's great to have the cause behind it as well.
Do you feel like you're cursed by injury? Really, like the team's won 3 in a row, and then you have 3 awful injuries, and it seems like each year at Collingwood, unfortunately, it's the same sort of scenario.
Not at all. Not at all. We're in a much better position now to be able to deal with that. And as I said, it's not, with all due respect to the guys that are going to miss, and we'd prefer to have them available. But if we bring the same attitude and effort that we've seen in recent weeks, we'll be pretty hard to beat. So we're pretty confident going to the game.
Has Alex put his hand up for selection?
I spoke to him earlier today, and he's keen to go. So that's a boon for us, and looking forward to that. It's obviously there's going to be a fair bit going on for him in these early stages, and the reintroduction back into playing is a step that he was going to have to take at some point, and he'll hit the field and have the support of his 21 mates and be able to narrow his focus into playing footy, which is something that he has a passion for and he enjoys to do, and we're looking forward to seeing him back out.
So it's completely his call then? Separating, I guess, his battle from a football decision from your perspective. Yeah, and let's be clear. If that 1 in 5 number's right, then there's 3 or 4 guys that have got some form of depression running around in every team this weekend. So let's be really clear that it's not Alex's plight alone. It's something that's far more societal than that. But and there's a fair bit of commentary around it, and that's understandable. But
Faz is going to get back to resume normal planning as soon as possible, and this weekend's a good step for that.
Have you learnt more through this? Have you, looked at it more, thought about it more yourself?
Oh no, it's been ever present, and I think when you are involved in an organisation that has the number of young men that we have, and the number of people that are intimately involved with each other in regards to the support and care mechanisms, and you get to know each other pretty on a fairly deep level in regards to footy and leaning on people and learning to trust them and them trusting you. So no, it doesn't surprise me. It's there's plenty of, and the pressure around it has been speculated on quite often. The reality is that inside the footy environment is a really safe, positive environment that we're looking to foster and build, and it hasn't really been anything different. It's just probably been a little more public than episodes in the past.
You mentioned the injuries earlier. In terms of, is it obviously the aim to get a real deep squad, sort of like one in, one out, kind of like the Bulldogs seem to be in the last 18 months the sort of benchmark. How close do you think you are to achieving that, and is it a bit of a work in progress?
Yeah, look, we've got a really the bottom half of our squad is ridiculously young. Pretty much anyone that carried over the last sort of 24 months or 18 months, 2 off seasons, had all played senior footy. We didn't have anyone that has been on the list for 2 or 3 years that hadn't played senior footy. So all of the guys that are yet to debut are guys that have only been recently picked up. So they're 17, 18, 19-year-olds now. And there's still a development responsibility at AFL level. Even though we're elite competition, we're still in the development business as well, and we've still got a bit of work to do there, and believe that we've set the right environment up. But clearly, you want to be able to bring in players that are going to buy into what the team's asking of, and to be able to step up into their roles. They don't have to be match winners, but 22 contributors together is what good teams do.
And is Cal Kirby a chance this week as well?
No, Cal won't play in the AFL. He'll play on Saturday against Casey, and his development is probably case in point. It's been first class, and I think it's a real, to see where Cale is getting to is a real pat on the back for our player engagement department, for our assistant coaches, development coaches, for the VFL program. And to Carl himself, and he said he's been mentored really well through Daniel Wells, Trav Varco, Chris Dixon, who's a VFL manager, has worked with him really closely. Dan Pelchin, he's living with, one of the staff members at the club. So it's been a whole club effort. But as I said, Carl needs to make the right decisions as he's gone along, and he's clearly got elite talent, and his development's been huge. So we're really excited about where he can get to. And Curbs is starting to understand, if you do X, you get Y, and that's pretty powerful. So he's, we're really excited about how he's going.
Is that from a fitness point of view as well? Am I right in saying that he came back after the Christmas break quite overweight? I
just said some really nice things about him. I'm not being smart, but why do we have to pick it to bits? He's been excellent. He's going really well.
Will Callum Brown make his debut?
Yeah, he will. So Cal will play, and his VFL form's been really strong over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Obviously, carry over, took him over to Freo, and he had a look at how we go about it, and so we broke protocol a little bit by letting him know this morning in front of the boys. He didn't know it was happening, so he was pretty shocked.
How do you react?
He was shocked. No, clearly he was pumped. Ask a silly question. He's over the moon. And I'm pretty sure that he would have taken the time between the meeting and preparing for training to contact mum and dad. And look, it's every young man's dream to go and play his first game of AFL footy. So. Yeah, it does. He said he's obviously gone through a bout of glandular fever early, and there's no there's no perfect way to do it, but yeah, he gets his chance, and we know that we're not going to lack in endeavour or grunt from him, and he's got a fair bit of class to go with that. So there's a bit of a romanticism with his old man that will clearly be reflected on, and it's just great to see a Brown in the first 22 for Collingwood again.
Is there a bit of method behind, even in the case of Scharenberg, holding off until they're sort of tearing the door down?
Yeah, well, once again, there's some factors outside of the individual's control that will often impact on that. Injuries, form of other guys, whether what the opposition's balance might be and what we're looking to go with tactically on any given weekend. But the thing that generally cuts through that is when players continue to put in sustained form and knock the door down rather than waiting for it to be pushed ajar for them. So, Shaz did that. Kale's got the opportunity to do that. Callum's done it. There might be isolated cases where we go to history that this is what we can expect from a certain guy. He might not be shooting the lights out in the VFL, but we think he's important to play a role for us on that given weekend. But match committees are a weird selection of people, so we can make some funny decisions at times, but there's logic in behind every decision.
Do you have any more clarity with regards to how long Goldsack, Wells and Elliott will miss? Or have you got confirmation?
No, well, we don't have any more information for you. Goldie will may be right for Port Adelaide in 2 weeks' time or after the bye. Wellesley has a slight strain in his gastroc, so we don't know. Don't really have a week a number on that, but about a month minimum. And Jamie, he's still in the boot, anywhere from 1 to 4, but it just depends how he presents clinically. So there you go. I've given you numbers, so you can run with that.
Bucks, I saw Aish with a
good questions get good answers.
Yeah, good.
I saw Aish with quite a big helmet on today. How far away is he, or is he right to go?
Yeah, he's available for selection. So he came and saw me after training and been pushing really hard. He wanted to play last week, but that was obviously the injury occurred in a really courageous act, and he's sneaky tough. Actually, he doesn't get a lot of credit for it. But whether it's in the air or on the ground, he's starting to build a reputation amongst his teammates that when it's his turn to go, he goes. And I think acts like the one 3 weeks ago, they feed that. And he's ready. Yeah, he's ready to play at whatever level he's asked to play.
How would you describe Callum as a player? Obviously, everyone knows Callum.
Yeah, he's busy. He's a ball winner and a ball hunter. He's got great, short speed, that lateral agility to either close space down or to create space for himself. He can go left or right. So he's pretty skilled. He plays very close to the ground, and he's an exciting young prospect with a great attitude. Really professional young man, and he's not going to die wondering.
How's Wellesley handled his latest setback? It's been a tough run for him.
Yeah, look, it was. I think it happens when you get towards the end of your career. I mean, your body isn't as you can't trust it as much as you used to in the past. But I mean, he's the footy that he played in the time that he was up and about whets the appetite. There's no doubt he was pretty important to us, especially early days when he first came back in the side. He probably looked like he was just not covering the ground quite as well the last 2 or 3 weeks. And we want to get the Daniel Wells of that first month that he came back when he's up and going, and so there's a bit of work for him to do between now and then. Not the least, sort of getting his body right and the confidence in it. But he was doing really well. So we look to the back third of the season and want to get him up for that.
The critics would probably say giving him a 3-year deal at this stage of his career was probably. The club probably pulled the wrong way a little bit. Is it just frustrating to have this Rolls Royce that it just seems to be, it's back in the garage again? Is it frustrating that you just can't get him on the park as regularly as you'd like?
If you ask me would I like him to be available for selection this week, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're asking if we regret bringing him into the club, absolutely not.
Where do you see the side like halfway through the season? How would you summarise this season so far for Collingwood?
It could be anything. So we really look forward to Monday and reproducing, our best footy and seeing where that takes us.
Is Josh Dacot's far away?
25, 30 metres. I don't know.
You've got a GPS.
I don't know exactly how far away he is. He's been playing some good footy. He's copped a few knocks. He was real close sort of for Anzac Day and he's in the squad. But no, he's one of the young batch of kids that we've got that have still got are yet to put a real solid block of VFL form together. And then once you've done that, there's the level that you need to go from TAC to VFL is probably one step, and then there's 5 more steps to get up to the level of AFL consistently. So whilst we might speculate and talk about it quite a bit, and we can have a look at guys that play, some pretty classy footy in isolated patches. We're building these players up for strong and long careers. And if we thought that they were in our best 22 and were going to help us win this week, they'd be in the side.